Welcome to Highlighted, a Life Church Midweek Podcast. Here we're on a journey to look for ways to make our sermons more practical in our everyday lives, and we want to inspire you to live out your faith every single day, not just on Sundays. In each episode, we highlight our sermons and our ministries to see how God is working in our church and through our community. And I got a special guest joining us today, the most loving person I know, the most caring person I know. So A, I wanted to flatter you, but B, today is special because Valentine's Day is coming, and
Right.
usually as a culture, we kind of view it as like, okay, this is like a romantic holiday, and
Right.
you either go with your spouse or your significant other, you go out, you get dinner, whatever. It's like, it's a date night.
Yeah.
It is kind of what culture says, but I wanted to take today's episode and focus on love as a whole, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up in what our world says what love is, and it's
Right.
another thing for us to go live out the love that Jesus showed to us every single day. But before we get started with that conversation, I just want to pause and I want to say, if you missed Sunday, man, it was so special. My good friend, Pastor Luke Yoder, was with us. He stayed with us this weekend. So we got a lot of Luke time.
Right. Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. He preached an amazing message just about holiness and seeking after God and wanting to be more like Christ and realizing that we all fall short.
Right.
And it's easy to hide behind the mask of doing the right thing, or it's easy to hide behind the mask of, oh, I'm a good Christian, or I'm this, I'm that, and I'm this label versus that label. But to truly understand that when we get in the presence of God, He can take that weight from us, and we don't have to hide behind this facade. We don't have to live this fake life, if you will. And when He takes that, our yoke is easy.
Yeah.
Our burden is lifted.
Right.
So that was an amazing sermon. Again, good friend of mine. He's been on the show before, on Highlighted before. He's been around our church a couple times. He was at youth camp this summer with their speaker. So some of our students already knew who he was. Some of our staff already knew who he was. Of course, me and you knew who he was. And now that Sunday's over, I'm glad that more of you know who my buddy Luke is.
Yeah.
So, but all that to say, if you missed it, man, what an amazing Sunday. But also go back and check it out now. It's the last video on the YouTube channel. It's the last podcast episode before this one. But let's dive into it today and just understanding and exploring love. And I feel like last year we were in a series called Relationship Goals, which is really cool because it focused on all sorts of relationships that we have, and specifically dating and marriage relationships.
Right.
But this year, knowing that we talked about that last year on Highlighted, this year I really wanted to pull the focus in on what it looks like to love your neighbor. Yeah. Because it's not always easy, right? It's not always in the way that we intend to do, and it's not always in the way that Jesus intended for us to do it. Sometimes we make a big deal out of it, and it becomes this hard thing, and a lot of us now don't even know our neighbors. Right, a lot of us now don't even know their names or their family or their kids. And so the first thing I would say, and I'm talking about like physical neighbor, like actual neighbors.
Yeah.
The first thing I would say is get to know the people around you. Because how can you love someone if you never know them? And that'll be the first like practical thing as we open up this box of love. I don't know, this is so silly. But yeah, in this kind of Valentine's Day special,
Right.
I would say the number one most practical thing is to get to know someone, because it's easy to judge. It's easy to say, oh, like that person lives with their boyfriend.
Right.
Like they're already living in it. So like, I'm just gonna tiptoe my way around this, and I'm not gonna give them the light of day. But then you go and have a conversation with them, and the more you get to know them, the more you kind of realize their situation, and you can't really hold someone accountable who doesn't know.
Right. Yeah.
So I would say the number one thing that I think in just loving your neighbors and loving everyone around us is getting to know them. Because if we have an argument, if we have a thing that gets in between us, it's not a point that we're going to stop loving each other.
Right.
So I think it's really cool that because I know you, even if you say something that frustrates me, or I say something that frustrates you, or whatever happens, it's cool because we can know the intent behind the words we're trying to communicate, or we can know the heart posture behind what you're feeling or what I'm feeling. So it really transcends, and it works in all relationships in our life, whether that's with spouses or coworkers or with neighbors, like physical neighbors, or with our classmates, or wherever you find yourself in knowing people. But what is a kind of a practical way? I don't know. When it's hard to it gets hard to love people, and I'm not saying this like it's an easy cakewalk, but what's a way that helps you navigate that if you're having a hard time loving someone?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all about just making an attempt to make a connection. I think everyone in our lives, whether they're in different seasons, everyone's seeking some kind of connection, whether that's friendship, relationship. And so, it can be seen in really simple moments of, oh, you happen to see your neighbor across the street, so you say hi. For us, we have awesome neighbors. We really love talking to them, and they also really enjoy talking to us.
We think. We think.
Yeah, we always have good conversations, and that begins with, oh, hey, like waving across the road, kind of doing something a little uncomfortable. And that's where you really have to start. You have to step outside of your comfort zone and just start really small as saying hello, and just see where that leads you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. And I love that the way you phrase that we have to step out of our comfort zone. And I feel like no matter who it is, whether it's a parent, a son or daughter, a coworker, whoever it is, like there's going to be situations you get into with people that just make you uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
And the easy thing is to just kind of let it go and walk away, and no one gets hurt. No one, but also I think, and there's definitely a time and a place for that. I don't want to say like never walk away from a situation, never, because there's a time and a place. There's a season for everything. So I would say, number one, use like wisdom and judgment, and rely on the Holy Spirit guiding you and leading you through these relationship processes, I would say. But I love how you said that we have to get uncomfortable, and that might be, hey, I'm not a social person, or I'm not a talkative person, but I'm going to say hi. Or, like it might be weird to wave across the street to someone I've never had a conversation with, or but that's the first step.
Right.
And I love Pastor Josh talked about this a couple weeks ago, and he brings up this story all the time. But after Peter denies Jesus and Jesus meets him, and he says, hey, Peter, do you love me? And Peter's like, I love you, Lord. And Jesus goes, Peter, do you love me? I love you, Lord. And he goes again, Peter, do you love me? And he says, yes, I love you, Lord. But the cool thing is in the original translation is they have different words for love. So it's not just love. The word that Jesus uses is, do you love me unconditionally? And then Peter says, Lord, I love you like a brother.
Right.
And then again, Jesus asks Peter, do you love me unconditionally? And Peter goes, I love you as a brother. And then finally Jesus says, Peter, do you love me as a brother? And Peter says, yes, I love you like a brother.
Right.
And it's so amazing to see how Jesus meets Peter right where he is, and isn't looking like, obviously he wants the very best for us, right? We're his children, we're his sons, and we're his daughters. And the Lord wants the very best for his people, but also knowing that he just wants our yes and our obedience, and for him to drop that down to what Peter is comfortable with. It's a crazy thing that is so incomprehensible in our day and age, where I feel like if you said that to me, or the other way around, or even if we flip it and it was me and Pastor Josh, and he's like, Paul, do you love me unconditionally? And I'm like, I love you as a brother. Like, I would be so frustrated and upset. Like, do you not hear what I'm saying? But instead, Jesus, instead of being frustrated with Peter or trying to knock some sense into him, he in turn goes and meets him right where he is. And sometimes that's what relationships require us to do. Sometimes you can't be frustrated with the person. You can't be frustrated with the situation. Sometimes you just have to go and meet them. And a lot of times that's a hard thing to do. A lot of times it takes strength and guidance from the Holy Spirit to help lead these conversations and to lead these things. But one of my favorite things is, like you mentioned, our physical neighbors and getting to know them over the past year and a half now. And it's so cool seeing you interact with them because like I said at the beginning of this episode, you are one of the most loving and caring and gentle people I've ever met in my life. And not just that I know, but like I've ever seen or encountered. So it's really cool to see how your love for other people, whether you know them really well or not, influences me. And in the same way, we have people in our lives who we've been talking about this all series long with our Kingdom Minded series, but in the same way, we have people that we're coaching along the way, and it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to say, man, no one likes me, no one wants to be around me, or fill in the blank. But knowing that we're discipling someone, right? We're showing someone the way, and knowing that how we love one another, we're not just doing that for each other, but we're doing that to show the next person and the next person after that. So who is someone that you would say in your life has modeled love, and not just a romantic love, but that kind of person that stepped in and was discipling you in that way, whether they realized it or not, or whether you realized it or not?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think off the top of my head, the first answer would be my mom. She's just an incredible host and someone that I always looked up to. And I think she shows a lot of her love and compassion in the way that she hosts. She always likes to, be the person that drops off meals or have a special breakfast for someone if they're staying over. So I just think in the way that you steward your household and the way that you can use your talents, that's just what she's really good at, is hosting for the Lord is a big way to show your love to your neighbors. So
yeah, that's really cool. And again, she's my favorite mother-in-law. So that says a lot. But truly, just seeing the compassion that she has for people, and even people that she's never even met, is a really amazing thing. And that's one of those things that I feel like it's easy for us as individuals to feel like we're pouring out all our love, all of our compassion, and this person's not even getting saved. Like, what's the point? Like, they're not even wanting to come to church with me. But there's a time and there's a season for everything, and you just got to believe. And especially if you're trying to love an unbeliever, especially if you're trying to love someone and you want them to come to church with you, and maybe you've invited them a couple times and they're still like hesitant to even make that first move and say, yeah, sure, I'll come try it out one time, or whatever that situation may look like. I think it's important to know that you might be placed in that person's life to sow a seed, and you might not ever see the harvest. And we might not know what it looks like on this side of eternity. But I think if we can just die to ourselves daily and pick up our cross and follow Jesus, I think that is the ultimate answer to loving people better around us, and in turn showing them the love of Christ. And obviously there's a time and a place for correction. There's a time and a place for discipling and making sure people aren't living in sin. But also there's a good way to do that. And that's why we believe here that discipleship is so important, especially relational discipleship, where we know one another, we know one another's needs, we know what their desires are, we know what they might be walking through in a particular season. And I think it boils down to what I said at the beginning, is the better you know someone, the better in turn you can show love to them. And I think one more practical way in which, if you feel like I struggle with that, and we've been talking about this for a couple weeks now on Highlight. This is only episode 2 of season 4, but for the last 2 episodes, we've talked about ways in which we can better disciple one another. And I believe it really starts with an honest and authentic prayer to God, and saying, hey, God, who would you put in my path that I can disciple, that I can lead, that I can teach, that I can model these things for? And also, God, would you put someone in my path and in my life that can model these things for me? And that's one of those things, is discipleship is never, it's never an end. Like, there's not an ending class to discipleship. You know what I mean? It's a lifetime thing, and becoming like Christ is a lifetime thing. It doesn't just happen overnight, and it doesn't just stay that way overnight. So I would just encourage you, if you're feeling bold and you're feeling like, man, I want someone that can lead me and guide me through this, someone to hold me accountable, someone to better my relationship with Christ, the most important relationship, right? I think praying that honest prayer of saying, God, would you show me who that is in my life? Or if they're not there yet, God, would you place them in my life is a bold thing, is a hard thing to pray. But I truly believe that Jesus wants us to be more like him, and it starts with discipleship.
Yeah.
And that's all that we really have for today. Is a really short episode. Really just wanted to highlight how we can love one another, and knowing that Valentine's Day is coming up, really. But it's been so amazing to be in this series, Kingdom Minded. It's coming up to an end. We have 2 more weeks in our series. Pastor Baba is bringing the word this Sunday, and then Pastor Joshua is wrapping up our series next Sunday. So this series is wrapping up. Easter is coming up. It's like crazy. We're already mid-February. It's crazy that we're talking about Valentine's Day, but something special we're doing in the month of February, something special we're doing to kind of help wrap up our series is we're doing a special house of prayer service on a Sunday evening, not on Wednesday evening, and it starts at 6 p.m., not at 6:30 p.m. It's going to be an hour and a half. It's going to be a time of worship, guided prayer. There's going to be a short devotional. There's going to be different interactive ways that we can pray, not just for our church, but our community and for one another. Yeah. We'll be going through Nehemiah chapter 9 as we wrap up the series, and I'm super excited for that night and everything that God has in store. So I just want to personally invite you, come on out that Sunday night. It's going to be February 22nd at 6 p.m. and there's so much more happening at Life. So make sure you stay connected. And as always, we love you and we can't wait to see you again soon.